As business move towards reopening during the coronavirus pandemic, we all must develop plans to ensure the safety of our customers and employees. The combination of AI-based technologies and smart perimeter security helps monitor how visitors are maintaining distance from one another and wearing face masks properly. This in addition to identifying individuals with elevated body temperature to make sure they receive assistance as they enter facilities. Thanks everyone for joining today's webinar, co-sponsored by CyberLink and VIVOTEK. My name is Jay Chang, the VP of Business Development here at CyberLink. I will be facilitating the session today. We will have three presenters. They will each come up to present the solutions the two companies have joined forces and created solutions for smart security and also visitor management and also contactless access control. They will also demonstrate these solutions and illustrate their deployment through a number of use cases. As far as the process goes, we will get them to introduce themselves first. We will have them go through their presentations. We will save the last 10 minutes of our session for a live Q&A. In the meantime, feel free to enter any questions you have in the Q&A chat session of your GoToWebinar panel. We have actually uploaded a handout which also includes our contact information in case you would like to reach us after today's session. At the moment, let me just go around the room and have our panelists introduce ourselves. Let's start with Richard.
Hi everyone, I'm Richard Carrier. I'm a SVP and General Manager at CyberLink.
Alan, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Director of Sales for VIVOTEK USA, which includes all of the US, Canada, and Puerto Rico, based out of San Jose.
Archie, please.
Hi, my name is Archie or Archimedes Mandap. I'm one of the business development managers here at VIVOTEK USA, which covers US and Canada. I work on special projects, which includes working with our technology partners such as CyberLink and developing mutually beneficial solutions through hardware and software integration.
And we also have Craig Campbell.
Hi, Craig Campbell, Manager for Sales Engineering at CyberLink. I will handle the chat, so please bring out your questions and I will pass them on to the panel.
Thank you very much for the introduction. So we'll first have Richard, come up and then talk about the technologies that CyberLink has put together for the pandemic. Thank you, Richard.
Let me tell you about FaceMe and our partnership with VIVOTEK. So first, what is CyberLink FaceMe? It is the world's top cross-platform AI facial recognition engine. According to NIST, it offers an accuracy rate of 99.7%, which places it in the top 5 in the world when you exclude a few providers from countries like Russia and China that cannot really compete on a global scale. In addition to accuracy, the fact that it runs at the edge makes it very secure, extremely fast compared to cloud solutions. We're talking about a few milliseconds versus several seconds for facial recognition. Also, it's optimized to run across platforms. So whether you have a single platform deployment or a legacy deployment requiring several platforms, it can all talk together. So we support Windows, Android, iOS, Jetson, several flavors of Linux. And it's also designed for several kinds of hardware, whether you're talking about PCs, industrial workstations and servers, IoT devices with small chipsets and processing power, or mobile devices. We have several models, several versions of our SDK that enable perfect balance between accuracy, speed, power requirements. So works in pretty much any setup. What are the features of CyberLink FaceMe? First one is face detection. So are there people and how many people are there in front of a camera? Face recognition, when connected to a database with identification for people, you can recognize people. Face attributes, we can identify key demographic data for statistics or analysis or personalization, such as gender, age, mood, the angle of the head as well. So in contactless solutions, people can nod or shake their head to answer questions in a contactless way. We also have image pre-processing technologies called True Theater that are very relevant to enhance image quality depending on poor lighting conditions or a lack of resolution cameras, so it can minimize any kind of bias. FaceMe also includes 2D and 3D anti-spoofing technology, so you cannot flash a picture or a video of someone. It really needs to be a real person in front of a camera. And finally, we recently added, in light of the COVID pandemic, mask detection and recognition of people wearing masks. So basically, we can detect if you wear a mask properly and identify people even if they have a mask. Let me show you a quick video describing FaceMe. Okay, now I will present you two of our horizontal solutions, one around security and the other one around COVID-19. After that, I'll describe a few industry vertical specific use cases where FaceMe combined with VIVOTEK cameras can provide a lot of value. First, FaceMe Security. FaceMe Security is a software that can be bundled with computers and VIVOTEK cameras, and as an all-in-one set of features to monitor securities in facilities. So it's extremely scalable. You can have several hundred VIVOTEK IP cameras in a facility or across many facilities, and it scales up with no problem. Average location that would require potentially 300 cameras for, let's say, an industrial plant, all you would need is 2 decent workstations with GPU or VPU acceleration. Here you go. You put FaceMe security software at the edge on the device. You have a central server that can be on-premise or at the headquarters to manage enrollment for people, to manage the different setup and manage security alerts. Then from there, we can send personalized alerts. Let's say you have somebody who's a visitor, you want to notify their hosts. Somebody who's on a block list should not be there, you can identify authorities. We also have features that can identify somebody showing up not wearing a mask properly on their face, or an unknown person, or for employees, you can even use it as a time clock device. Here's a video describing FaceMe security. Okay, now let's talk about our other software called FaceMe Health. And this one is very interesting because it's a solution that can run as a standalone or as an add-on to FaceMe Security. And same idea, all you have to do is install it on workstations, connect cameras like the VIVOTEK camera, and we're equipped to detect if somebody is wearing a mask, wearing them properly over their face. We can do face recognition of people wearing a mask with an accuracy level of up to 95%, which is more than enough in most cases. And if you integrate a thermal camera, you can also connect somebody's body temperature with an individual. So if somebody has elevated body temperature, they can be met by someone at the facilities who can make sure that everybody stays healthy. Here's how it works. Okay, now let me go over a few use cases that would integrate our SDK, so not necessarily FaceMe Health or FaceMe Security, but our SDK in a set of IoT deployments. So in commercial and office buildings, you can integrate it to the visitor management system, so pre-registered visitors can be greeted by their host or directed where they need to go, even if there's no live person to interact with. It can do access control to different doors and areas across the facility. It can do time and attendance for employees, all in a contactless way, just them walking through the door. It can ensure building security and for the entire perimeter, and also integrate health screening. All that in one touchless, unintrusive experience. When you bring it to airport and transportations, we have deployments that can enable airport surveillance overall. You can be there at security checkpoints to identify people, make sure the health is there. Can do access control to the limited and restricted areas, the airport. You can power self-service kiosks that can be completely contactless. In the case of transportation, in buses or trains, it can ensure driver and passenger safety. And we can integrate the full health screening that you saw with FaceMe Health. Residential complexes, perimeter surveillance is a big deal, on-premise security as well. It can fully automate access control in a contactless way. And once somebody walked in the facilities, it can direct them to the right place. It can even set the elevator to go to the right floor and unlock the door of their apartment units. Can do the same thing with pre-registered visitors, and also it can send alerts if there are any intruders or people who should not be there. Also very important in schools and higher education campuses for security around the campus, on premise, same thing, visitor management, students, faculty. A lot of people go in these places, make sure that only the right people can have access, control access to different areas, make sure it monitors alerts, so it could be anyone who should not be there, and also perform health screenings that are critical right now to reopening schools and campuses. Manufacturing and warehouses, these are very large, complex facilities that have indoor, outdoor areas. Sometimes it can be several buildings, even in several facilities. So an installation that is powered by FaceMe and could integrate the VIVOTEK camera can take care of everything from overall access control to the site, inside the site, visitor management. There's lots of visitors who go to these sites. Same thing for people who do delivery at checkpoints, making sure people come in with their truck, direct them to the right place where they need to go, but also make sure they come out after a certain time. It's good for on-premise security, intruder alerts. An important one is machinery equipment sign-in, so it can monitor who is using different pieces of machinery and equipment for how much time. So this is good for health and safety. This is good to ensure only authorized access happens, and also to track, in the case of mobile equipment, who is using it at which point. Now, add to that health screening. Right now it's a big issue to make sure that social distancing, people wear their masks throughout the facilities, and there's no elevated body temperature. And these are all things that can be integrated into one system pretty easily. You can even retrofit, in many cases, existing systems just by installing our SDK with the software, adding some proper cameras where it's needed. Now, retail hospitality, also very important right now, health screening. So whether it's a health kiosk or an integrated system. For loyalty programs, in a contactless mandatory situation right now, in many hotels, restaurants, people can go at self-service kiosks, automatically be identified as member of loyalty, but also when the world becomes more normal, just the camera at the entrance can notify employees of somebody who's member of loyalty programs. Obviously, that would require that the member accepts to enroll their pictures, but typically for the right perks and VIP treatment, a lot of people will do that. You can also personalize advertisement based on who's looking at a digital sign or kiosk. It can help to do transaction authentication in a contactless way or cardless way. It can help self-check-in, self-checkout, monitor access to the places are accessible only to employees, and also help fraud alert and loss prevention. So there it is. In conclusion, FaceMe offers a complete set of solutions. So we have cutting-edge security COVID-19 solutions available, but beyond security, health, and safety, we can also provide amazing new contactless user experiences, especially in hospitality, restaurants, retails right now that are suffering. Being able to create these compelling experiences will bring a lot of value. FaceMe Security, FaceMe Health software are channel ready, and they fully support VIVOTEK IP cameras. So all you have to do is add proper server, and any IT department in a company can get going. We have an SDK that's very accurate, flexible, provides low cost and secure facial and biometric identification, and this is for any edge deployment. And finally, our solution is very easy to integrate into IoT solutions due to the flexibility. So with that, I thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you will be interested. Please contact us to have information about evaluation version of the software or just in general about the products.
Thanks, Richard, for sharing great information on CyberLink's innovations and technologies and its relationship with the VIVOTEK, that the two companies are working together to provide an easily deployable solution for various verticals. Next up, we have our friends from VIVOTEK. Let me just pass it on to them so then they can give you a more in-depth information about how the two companies work together and how VIVOTEK's cameras and technologies are also supported by CyberLink.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alan Green, and I'm the Director of Sales for VIVOTEK USA. VIVOTEK USA being part of VIVOTEK Global. I'm responsible for the business in North America, being the US, Canada, and Puerto Rico. My role here today is to talk to you about VIVOTEK as a company, give you a brief overview on who we are and what we do, and then turn it over to the team to talk about the partnership with CyberLink for their FaceMe facial recognition software and how that will integrate to our VAS2 video platform. So with that, VIVOTEK, if you're not familiar with us as a company, basically VIVOTEK stands for the convergence of video, voice, and communication technology. We started as a true IP camera company back in 2000, and we are celebrating our 20th anniversary year, but what has changed over those 20 years is that as an IP camera company, and again, we were true from the ground up. We were not a legacy video analog company. We actually were manufacturing IP cameras from the ground up. Today, we are selling and providing intelligent video solutions and everything that goes along with that. So not only the cameras, but also the recording devices, the networking devices, and the software head ends. Again, a true video surveillance company today. Again, mentioned that we were founded in 2000. We've been publicly traded since 2006 on the Taiwan Stock Exchange, although we are part of a larger global entity by the name of Delta Electronics or Delta Group of companies. We are still publicly traded today on the stock exchange with over 1,100 plus global employees for VIVOTEK alone. From that standpoint, much of that is headquartered in Taiwan from the standpoint of being very engineering driven, but again, 100 plus in global employees, including all the subsidiaries and sales teams and everything that are out in the world supporting the various customer bases. On that note, we are actually operating in 116 different countries through 183 different distributor partners. So we are represented very heavily in the majority of the world at this point in time. But with that being a global manufacturer, Security Top 50, if you're not familiar with that ranking, Security Top 50 has published the top 50 global manufacturers of security products every year for a number of years now, and we've been very fortunate to be consistently ranked in the top 20. This year, or this past year in 2019, we were ranked number 18. So again, that is a total security ranking for global manufacturers. That's not just video surveillance. So we're very happy and proud to be included in that ranking. As I've mentioned a couple times, we are based out of Taiwan. We are not a Chinese manufacturer, and for all the things that it brings with that these days, we are a true OEM manufacturer. This is our product, our design, our engineering, our manufacturing. This is not us putting our name on somebody else's product, and therefore we do not have any of the Chinese concerns that are involved in today's TAA and NDAA bans. We are a compliant company building out of Taiwan. So in the U.S., we are headquartered in San Jose, California. All of our inventory, all of our tech support, everything is supported out of that office. And that, again, is responsible for U.S., Canada, and Puerto Rico. As I mentioned, 20 years of reliability in this case. What that means to me is that we build a very good product and we're not ever going to embarrass anyone. We basically have a less than 1% global failure rate. We make tremendous products and try to bring a lot of value to that product by way of price points and technology and things like that. But 20 years of reliability down the road, we do have a very robust product offering. I won't beat up the Taiwan piece again, but today what we're focused on is trying to become the I in the IoT. Everybody talks about the Internet of Things and IoT. What our specialty is the camera. So what we want to be is we want to be that image recognition, image acquisition device to be able to take and capture, view, transmit, whatever the case may be, video surveillance, intelligent video surveillance for application-driven needs. AI is one of those things that we all talk about a lot these days, and what has changed over time is that we've gone from pixel-driven motion detections and things like that to being AI or artificial intelligence-driven today, constantly learning and analyzing the video streams to be able to do different things with it, not the least of which is going to be facial recognition. We do that, however, through a vertical market-driven focus. We take and globally focus on certain markets like transportation and retail, things like that. In North America, I have our team also focused on healthcare and education as well as smart cities, and we're trying to take and fit together the pieces of the puzzle to bring you as a partner base that solution that will help satisfy your customers' needs. We also do that with an eye on cybersecurity. Cybersecurity means not only stronger passwords and things like that these days, but we also have partnered with Trend Micro, and we've been on the bleeding edge of that technology curve for several years now, where we actually have Trend Micro software residing on our cameras at the edge in order to provide a very secure solution. So not only through the devices, but back to your network and everything else, we're pushing cybersecurity out to the edge. I mentioned being the I in the IoT, again, with a vertical focus. These are several different markets, but one of the things that you'll notice is security or video surveillance is common to all of them. It gets used in different ways on transportation than maybe it does in a smart city or in a retail environment, but video surveillance is common to all of them. And one of the things that's becoming common to all the video surveillance is now facial recognition. So again, this kind of ties it all together with what we're going to be talking about today and what this partnership brings. As for the VIVOTEK portion of it, we are a full video surveillance manufacturer, as I mentioned, which means that we have cameras in all shapes and sizes and resolutions for pretty much any need that you could possibly have. But we also take and bring those cameras back into a variety of devices and software platforms all the way up through VAS2, which is what we're going to focus on today. VAS2 is, again, our video management software piece of the puzzle. This is the VMS that you often hear about, talked about in the marketplace. You may also hear it referred to as a CMS. The primary difference between CMS and VMS is just the way that it handles different features within the software itself. But the general gist of it all is that you've got a number of cameras deployed out in the world, and you want to basically bring them back to a central site to manage them, to review for incidents, to look at live situations, to do data research for whatever it may be from a business intelligence standpoint. So all of those things, basically, you've got the cameras out on the edge, they're coming back through the network to a recording device of some level, and then managed by the software, which in our case is VAS2 and the platform that we're talking about today. Last but not least, the thing that I want to kind of mention to you in VAS2 before Archie gets into the details on how it interfaces with the CyberLink program or platform and the FaceMe program, is that VAS2 itself from a VMS standpoint is very cost effective. We do not try to take the traditional software model and just add fees on top of fees, but we really have a very robust, very simple, cost-effective piece of software that has a very simple licensing structure. The first 32 cameras coming into a VAS server are free. Anything above that 32 cameras is a one-time camera license. So if you add 33 cameras to a video server, the first 32 are free. You're paying for one license beyond that. If you bring them in through one of our NVRs, as you'll see in the top of the diagram, that licensing structure is all taken care of in the box itself. So therefore, you may have 32 cameras on the video server and another 16 coming in through a remote NVR. You're not having any licensing fees at all to pay from a simple standpoint that the licensing is built into the NVR. Same thing with VAS2 as a substation, and then the bottom is basically showing just cameras coming back to the head end itself. Last but not least, we also don't charge any annual maintenance fees. So again, one-time licensing, first 32 free, built into the NVRs in a very simple structure to work with, very cost-effective, but yet a very robust piece of software. So with that, I'm going to say thank you and turn it over to Archie to kind of talk about the VAS2 and how it fits together with the CyberLink FaceMe recognition software platform. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you everyone for joining the webinar. Once again, my name is Archimedes Mandap, and today I will be presenting the facial recognition solution that we developed in cooperation with CyberLink. In this presentation, I'll provide a quick overview where I cover the hardware and software pieces that make up this solution, explain how FaceMe Security integrates with VAS2, and then illustrate how the entire solution works. And lastly, I'll talk about how this smart security solution provides additional functionality in VAS2 that are useful in addressing many of the use cases and scenarios that Richard mentioned in his presentation. There are three main components that make up this integrated solution. We have the VIVOTEK network cameras that act as the image capture device. We have VAS2 in the middle, which is our video management software that handles the management of the IP cameras in the network. This is also where the captured video from the cameras can be viewed, recorded, and played back. And also VAS2 handles all the data that's coming from an external source or third party. In this case, data that's coming from FaceMe Security. And lastly, we have the facial recognition software, which consists of FaceMe Security Workstation and FaceMe Security Central. So both the VAS2 and FaceMe Security software can be installed on a single server, but they can also be installed and ran on separate servers. So this provides flexibility as well as scalability. So now let's take a look at how these three components interact with each other. So the VIVOTEK camera streams the video to VAS2, where it gets ingested and recorded. That video stream gets forwarded to Security Workstation, where face detection and recognition is performed. And then any of the extracted information gets forwarded to Security Central, where face match is performed against a database of faces. Security Central then generates some data points that gets forwarded to VAS2 to process. So let's take a look at those data points. They consist of the name of the person that was detected, the day and time that person was detected, the group that person belongs in. They can either be labeled as a VIP, an employee, a stranger, or if they're part of an unauthorized list, they'll be labeled as block list. And then finally, the location of the camera where that person was detected. Once those data points are generated, they then gets forwarded to VAS2 and ingested through VAS2's interface, which we call data magnet. Data magnet uses the data points as alarm triggers when setting up alarm policies, and they're also used in generating a searchable database, which I will discuss later. Just so you know, we have an enhanced integration with CyberLink, which makes it easier to add cameras to FaceMe Security Central. Before, you would have to input the camera information manually, the name, the location, and the RTSP video stream address. But now, our integration FaceMe Security Central allows a server connection with VAS2. So within Central, as you can see, you basically just input the IP address of the VAS2 server and the credential, and then it generates all the cameras automatically below that's been set up for facial recognition. So there's no need to manually input the camera information anymore. Another thing that you can do in FaceMe Security Central is the ability to turn on and off monitoring or facial recognition on those cameras within the console. So now that you have a general idea at how FaceMe integrates with VAS2, in the next couple of slides, we'll take a closer look at the additional functionality that facial recognition brings into our video management software, and how this smart security solution can be used in several scenarios, applications, and verticals. In this slide, we have a screenshot of VAS2's live client. This is where camera video streams can be viewed in real time. And in this example, we have a person of interest that's in view. So now imagine this being in a retail environment and this person is about to enter a store. It just happens that this guy has shoplifted before and his picture was enrolled into the FaceMe database. So now once he walks into the store, Live Client will immediately display the facial recognition data. The security staff can now study this and take a look and identify this guy to be a shoplifter. And as you can see, it shows that Cal belongs into the blocklist group, which means he's unauthorized and is not allowed to enter the store. With this information, the security staff can take immediate action and prevent a potential theft or loss to the store. Real-time monitoring and detection can also be used differently in other scenarios besides catching bad guys or shoplifters. It can be utilized to recognize VIPs instead, very important people. As an example, in hotels, especially the ones that have customer loyalty programs, this feature can be utilized to immediately identify guests that have an elite status with the hotel, and VAS2 can alert staff to immediately tend to that guest and provide them with the best possible customer service experience. In VAS2, the user can be alerted by creating an alarm policy and turning on alarm notification. So when a VIP hotel guest is identified, a notification will immediately show up on the upper right-hand corner of Live Client, and if you click on the play icon, it will launch the video playback page, which will allow the user to review the video of when the person entered the hotel by using the playback timeline controls below. VAS2 has another helpful feature called eMap or electronic map. That is a tool that helps in providing situational awareness to the security staff, especially in an office building scenario. This feature allows the user to upload a picture or a map, or in this example that we have here, we have a floor plan to represent a floor in an office building. Each camera icon represents the location of a physical camera on the floor and the direction it is pointing at. In this scenario, all 4 cameras have facial recognition enabled, and when you click on an icon, a live view feed opens up for that camera. With facial recognition, we are now able to roughly track a person's location and get an idea of their movement based on the location of the camera and the time they were detected. In this example, we have Min, who is an executive or a VIP located in the west wing of the floor, an employee nearby the janitor closet, and a stranger close to where the lobby is. The ability to track is very helpful, especially when an unauthorized individual enters the building. An alarm policy can be set where eMap can be triggered to automatically open in VAS2 and show on the floor plan the camera that detected the unauthorized person. This then will give the security staff a general location where to look for the person, and in the example that I have, we have a block list listed person whom at the time of detection was identified to be in the server room. So all the alarm rules for the different scenarios I talked about from the previous slides can be defined in the alarm management console of VAS2. In this page, you can use FaceMe data points as the trigger to these alarms. In this alarm that I already created, I've set the trigger condition to detect VIPs that are entering a specific door on the 6th floor of a building where a camera is located. There are several actions that can be taken, like start recording, send an email, launch eMap. In this example, we've chosen to sound an alarm in which will play an audible sound in VAS2 when a VIP is detected. The alarm can be scheduled to run at a specific day and time, but in this case, we have set it up to be always running. Here are more examples of alarm rules created in alarm management. The first one, alarm management is being used to open a door. In theory, this is possible by triggering the camera's digital output that's connected to a door relay. In this scenario, the door will only open when an authorized person or employee is detected. On the second one, when a person that is in the block list is detected, we can have VAS2 to perform multiple actions, such as send an email to security, have eMap instantly pop up and show which camera detected the unauthorized person, as well as play an audible alarm on VAS2. basically, this is a good example that that shows that you can stack up multiple actions. On this last one, VAS2, we'll basically start recording and bookmark a 10-second video clip when a stranger is detected. VAS2 also has an alarm list page where you can search and find all the triggered alarms. Once you find the alarm you're interested in, you can click on the play icon to review it. As I mentioned earlier, Data Magnet uses the FaceMe data points to build a database of all the faces detected and recognized. The user can then go back in time and perform a search based on the search criteria. The screenshot that I have here shows the Data Magnet search page in VAS2 and the result of a query. And in this example, we are asking Data Magnet to search for all the employees recognized under group between August 13 and August 21. By the way, as a side note, you can also search for name and data source, which is the camera location, under search criteria. The result then generates a chart showing the number of employees recognized for each day on that time frame, as well as the grand total. And in this case, Data Magnet found 1,903 entries in its database. Right below the chart is a table that contains the entries of all the recognized employees. Each row represents a person recognized with the FaceMe data points associated to that individual. So we basically have the name of the person, the group it belongs in, the timestamp, the camera that captured the picture, including the location of the camera. It also provides a thumbnail picture of the person and the option to watch a playback video of that person at the time of detection by clicking on the play icon to the right. So one scenario this searchable database can be useful is in a work setting where time cards are still being used to track an employee's time and attendance. In a car factory, for example. And let's pretend there's an employee in this factory that is suspected of time card fraud, such as a coworker punching in their time card for them to cheat on attendance. So now the employer can use the Data Magnet database as an investigative tool and perform a search on the employee's time in attendance, as well as review the picture thumbnail and video for any discrepancies. And on that note, this concludes my presentation, and I thank you for listening in. If you want to learn more about the smart security solution, please go on our website, vivotek.com. Under Solutions, select Facial Recognition, and go to the FaceMe Security tab. On this page is material that I covered in my presentation, including additional information about the solution. If you have any questions, please click on the Sales Inquiry button at the bottom of the page and fill out the form. Someone from our sales team will then reach out to you. Thank you once again.
Well, thank you, Archie. That's a great presentation. I think it was very much in depth to give everyone a good understanding of what VAS2 and VIVOTEK's camera, along with CyberLink's FaceMe security, can do. It's not only just for the pandemic, right? I think there are use cases that do apply even after the pandemic, especially on perimeter security and also visitor management type of use cases. Thanks again. I think all those presentations were wonderful. I'd like to pass it on to Craig to host the next 10 minutes for the Q&A. Go ahead, Craig.
Thank you, Jay, and thank you, panelists. Everyone, that was a great presentation. We had a number of questions posed by the attendees. I do have a few here that we want to have the panelists respond to. So if we could start off with VIVOTEK. What hardware or software licenses are necessary to make FaceMe work with VAS2?
So, so one of the things that I've discussed during the presentation is the data magnet interface. So besides the camera license, you basically need to purchase a data magnet license, because this is the one that ingests the data that's coming from the CyberLink FaceMe security solution software. So in this case, we do need the data magnet as well as the FaceMe security license.
Great. So 2 licenses, data magnet and FaceMe security. Awesome. All right. Next question is for CyberLink. What makes FaceMe the world's top cross-platform AI facial recognition engine?
Okay, sure. I mean, there's many things. On top of the accuracy, which I mentioned in my segment of presentation, which places it in the top 5 in the world for those that can be commercialized in countries outside of China, Russia. It's edge-based, therefore very fast, very secure. It runs across a very large number of OS, so Android, iOS, Windows, several flavors of Linux, Jetson, so makes it possible to install it on pretty much any platform, or even hybrid installations that have different platforms. It's also optimized. We have several models, so the deep learning happens in different models, each of which is optimized for different combinations of power, speed, and accuracy. So no matter what kind of hardware you have, we have the best solution for you. And on top of that, we have unique features like the ability to do facial detection with very high accuracy when people are wearing masks. We have our True Theater technologies that enhance the quality of poor lighting, or some cases, low resolution cameras to remove bias. So when you bring it all together, there's literally no solution that comes close to FaceMe.
Okay. Another question. VIVOTEK. I understand that FaceMe software recommends using a 2-megapixel camera set to 1920 by 1080 stream. What if I have a 3-megapixel or higher resolution camera? Do I need to configure the stream to a lower resolution?
So VIVOTEK cameras come with multiple streams, some of them 3 to 4 in this case. Stream 1 is typically used for FaceMe, right? So if you, let's say you have a 3-megapixel camera, you can set the stream, the first stream, to a 2-megapixel resolution. And you're not really getting any performance boosts by leaving it at 3-megapixel. So you can definitely leave it at 2-megapixel. But if you want to record on a higher resolution, then you can set, let's say, stream 2 to 3-megapixel, and you can keep it that way at 3-megapixel.
Great. All right, last question of the day. How can we try FaceMe?
Yeah, very easy. On the handout, and also the list of names you had at the beginning, you have at the end, just contact us, and we have evaluation versions of FaceMe on the different platforms. We'll be more than happy to let you try and experience the tool.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Some more questions? All right, great. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining today's session again. I do want to again thank our panelists as well. Great presentations. Before I let everyone go, we do host a series of webinars every 3 to 4 weeks or so. So if you want to get information from us, you can obviously try to subscribe or basically join us on LinkedIn. And then at the end of today's webinar, we will also show a slide which is identical to the handout that we actually uploaded earlier. So you guys can actually take down some of the information by maybe take a screenshot. So in the case when you guys want to reach out to any of us, you can, and we'll be definitely more than happy to respond back to you at our earliest convenience. Thank you very much, everyone. We're looking forward to seeing you again in the next webinar that's hosted by CyberLink. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.